Welcome to RAADcast, where science and soul converge in shaping the future of human potential. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Grill-Peterson, and together we're stepping beyond limits to explore super longevity. Produced by the Coalition for Radical Life Extension, the visionaries behind RAADfest, RAADcast is more than a podcast. It's a movement for the bold, the curious, and those who refuse to settle for anything less than the extraordinary. Together, we'll uncover the cutting-edge science, unknown strategies, and transformative practices, paving the way for a future of limitless potential. If you're ready to think bigger, dream bolder, and live longer, you're in the right place. This is RAADcast. Now let's get ready to explore the future of life itself. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to RAADcast. I am your host, Dr. Melissa Grill-Peterson, and together we are here to explore the frontiers of radical longevity and human optimization. Today, we are diving into the power of breath as a key tool for super longevity. Our guest, Raj Khedun, is a transformation coach and the creator of the 3-3 Metaverse Breathing Method. I cannot wait to learn about this. And it is helping people reduce stress, heal insomnia, and improve well-being in just minutes. His mission through Keep Fit Kingdom is to help 1 billion people live to 100 years happily and in a vibrant state of health and well-being. Raj, we've already had so much fun and we are going to dive in. I'm so thrilled that you're here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Just talking to you a little bit about your wrestling background and, dialing in on that whole wrestling thing has just been amazing, And I think there's so much, even beyond this podcast, I think there's so much collaboration we could potentially do. I think it'd be amazing with that kind of energy. So
We will
thank you.
have fun. Yeah, absolutely. Again, if you guys are just tuning in and you just heard a word, you're like, wait, am I tuning into RAADcast and talking about super longevity, or are we talking wrestling? Maybe a little bit of both. Today is going to be a very illuminating conversation. And I'm so thrilled to have it. Raj, I kind of want to jump right in and we're going to circle all around. But you have been a relationship and transformation coach for years. You were sharing with me before we started that for more than a decade now, you've had Kung Fu Kingdom. And so
Yeah.
you've been in this zone of performance, you've been in this zone of optimization and just like really, kind of leveraging this physiology to express our greatest potential. And yet in the core of it, through this, you have developed a 3-3 metaverse breathing method. So share with us a little bit kind of this journey that is you and drop us into this metaverse breathing. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Okay. I mean, I'll take you a little bit back to the genesis. I think this will make everything kind of contextualize it. So, people can relate to the story to somehow, if they can. So basically, it all started when I was 3 years old. My mother took me to the nursery for the first time, and I went to the library. And the first two books I picked off the shelves, right? One was on dinosaurs, right? And one was on planets, right? And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but those images etched in my mind all throughout my life. And these themes would pursue me no matter what. Like whenever I was by myself, whenever I was in a library, I'd always move towards these things like astronomy, astrology, you know,
Yeah.
these kind of sciences. And the dinosaur thing, why? Evolution. I was obsessed with how do animals evolve? From what to what? How do they have higher degrees of intelligence? How do their brains evolve? How do they become more sentient? How do they become more powerful? How do they become more, expressive of their ultimate potential? How does that happen? Right? So those themes, as silly as it sounds, from the very young age of 3, just etched in my mind. And believe it or not, they were more important to me than my entire education.
Wow. Okay. So they were your education. I mean, what an amazing thing to start at such a young age. So they literally, so this is interesting because there's a lot of research around your first memory. your first memory that you have and how it literally informs the trajectory of your life.
Yes.
And there, I mean, there's phenomenal research about it, and I'll maybe share my story at another time. It's so interesting. Okay, so this is part of some of your first memories that was
Yeah.
really etched in, that then was kind of your education. So continue taking us on this journey. It literally was more, it was your education more than your formal education. How
Yeah.
has it landed you to this, to where you're at today in
Okay.
looking at human evolution?
Well, as I grew up, I got into health and fitness, as most people do. I went to the gym regularly. I did the silly alpha male things with guys, like pushing the most weight on the bench press or the overhead press or the squats. And I was quite good. I was
Because he
quite good.
loved wrestling too, everybody. He was a
Yeah.
big wrestling mark. He was like doing it in the gym.
Even before I went to ever step foot in the gym, I was watching wrestling, as a kid, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, every single week religiously. And, it just it was kind of a natural progression that I would go to the gym, I'd look at martial arts, I would look at Tai Chi and Wing Chun. I did Wing Chun for 10 years, that Bruce Lee made popular from the Ip
Yeah.
Man, Wing Chun. So going through all the fitness stuff, I realized that there's something not quite right, because I was battering my body with weights, and I, became strong and imposing and whatever. But I realized that I was only 25, and I'm having like all these weird aches and pains and like lactic acid, and like takes me 2 days to recover from heavy squats. And I was thinking, this is strange. Like, I'm a young guy. Why am I acting like an invalid after a couple of days, doing squats, and I can't walk anymore? Like, well, what is this? So I started thinking about, like, how do you optimize your energy? How do you create more energy?
Yeah.
How do you think to do your thoughts help you recover quicker or not? So I went through this whole research thing of studying body anatomy, breathing, the nervous system, the digestive system, circulatory system, the hormonal system, all these different systems. I started to look at them more carefully. And I used to have really bad colds as a kid, like really bad. In our great, green and damp country of the UK, it's easy to get colds and flus and stuff like that. And I would get them 4 times a year,
Mhm.
and it would take 2 weeks to recover every single time,
Oh, wow.
because I would have, the ear, nose, and throat are connected,
Mhm.
and I would get inflamed throat, and then I couldn't hear. I was almost deaf, right? And I couldn't answer the phone. I couldn't listen to music. I was like, again, like almost disabled for 2 weeks, 4 times a year. And I thought, this is silly, because I'm young. I don't want to take flu jabs, because they give flu jabs every year in the UK, right? And I was like, that's for old people, isn't it? Like, why am I why am I taking flu jabs? So I took the flu jabs, and I thought, I was always thinking in the back of my mind, it's got to be a better way than this,
Yeah.
right? So what I found out is that squats helped me to really level up my immune system and my just general health in terms of feeling good. So I experimented with squats only for a good year or so, just squats.
Okay.
So I
And
did,
you wrote a
yeah,
book, How Squats Can Change Your Life. Now, I know we're taking the long road to get to the breathing method, so everybody keep listening, but this sounds really important. And there's actually some phenomenal research about how just taking little squat breaks throughout the day, every hour or two, is quite powerful in regulating blood glucose and adjusting cortisol levels. So there's a huge impact of metabolic health. But you did your own kind of N of one study.
yeah.
And so, how did doing squats for 1 year, change your life?
Well, I noticed that I did a mixture of squats, like weighted squats, heavy squats, light squats, high reps, low reps, partial reps, full reps, and also body weight squats as well. Just to say, if I'm in a foreign country, if I'm, waiting in line in the post office or wherever, can I do something to just
Yes,
keep my
I do
body
that.
going?
I do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Continue.
People think I'm crazy, you know, what are you doing? But is it you? No. Are you inspired? Maybe. Well, you can do it too. For you, right? So I do Tai Chi even in the queue, even now. Yeah, just to kind of keep my mobility up. It's just a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
So what I realized, Melissa, is that when I was doing squats, I would recover from flus quickly, much quicker,
Okay.
because there's more hormones being released in the bloodstream. Cardiovascular system is moving quicker, and you're getting more life energy into your lungs and through your body and through your heart and everything. So instead of taking 2 weeks to recover, it will take me 2 days. Right, when I was doing squats.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So I thought, hang on a minute, what's really going on here? Is it the squats, the actual physical exercise, or is it the breathing rate that occurs when you're doing squats?
Mm.
Then I started to dissect it even more and started to say, what's actually going on? Okay. When I did the breathing, I isolated the breathing and I didn't do squats. And then I realized it was really the depth and the quality and the rhythm of breathing that was helping me recover quickly.
The longevity revolution is about more than just searching online for a few hacks, or any one of us moving our biomarkers in the right direction. It's about coming together to learn, share, to connect, and create the unlimited future we want. That's why you need to be at RAADfest 2025 in Las Vegas from July 10th to the 13th. RAADfest, the revolution against aging and death, is proud to be partnering for the first time with Dr. Aubrey de Grey and Longevity Escape Velocity Foundation to form the single most comprehensive, advanced, informative, and inspiring event on age reversal for a general audience. Meet the people you want to make forever with. RAADfest 2025. Take advantage of lower advanced pricing now at raadfest.com.
Well, I mean, there is, and so okay, so let's continue because so there's so much within, squats. You're working one of your largest muscle groups, and there is a tremendous amount. So the breathing, yes, that rhythmic breathing, would you do in and out through the nose, in and out through the mouth? How are you kind of finding that rhythm? So I want to make sure we continue to go there. And there is also a lot of benefit of what is happening when you're doing resistance training, you're putting a load onto that large muscle group because it's such a muscle of metabolism. It's going to, help to increase circulation. It can enhance immune function. It can actually reduce chronic inflammation. When we're helping to really decrease even just some of the stress hormones and things of that nature. There's a lot that can happen with it. There's a lot that can happen within the muscle itself and the myokines, but what did you find in the rhythm of your breathing? Again, in and out through the nose, in and out through the mouth, faster, slower? What was happening there?
Yeah. So certain breathing methods help release hormones from the brain easier than others. So going back to the squat book, and then we'll move into the breathing. Rob Van Dam, who wrote the foreword to How Squats Can Change Your Life, he alluded to similar kind of thing, that self-care routine, spending time to be by yourself, to kind of meditate, be more thoughtful, be more mindful, as well as stretching would help you increase your appreciation and your gratitude for having a body in the first place. Because if you're not having that inner dialogue and that communication with yourself, that you feel thankful, you're happy, you're grateful, you can never be too grateful.
Right. I agree.
That's an infinitely compounding idea that can completely expand your consciousness. To infinite reaches. There's no end to it. So Rob Van Dam, he did, a fantastic forward to kind of bring this idea that you should take care of yourself. You should appreciate yourself. You should be grateful and talk to yourself in that positive manner. So moving on to the breathing methods, what I found was that, you've heard of Wim Hof, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yeah. You probably have tried maybe some of the courses, or maybe you've tried some of the methods. So certain breathing, hyperventilation through the mouth, it helps you relax. It helps you get into parasympathetic, but it takes some time. It could take, 5, 8, 12 minutes. We know several people who do, long routines as well as the cold exposure.
Right.
So I experimented with rapid breathing through the nose by itself, alternate nostril breathing, both rapid and slow, as well as what they call kumbhakas, breath retention. In the yoga tradition, they call it kumbhaka, which is breath hold or breath retention. And I did whole, lots, different types, different speeds and everything. And they were good. They helped me a lot in terms of, keeping my nervous system strong, my immune system strong. But then I evolved it a bit further. because I was looking for what's the easy way, the simple way in this day and age, because people are always looking for quick fixes.
Right.
I'm also a relationships coach for women. I've been doing that for 15 years. And when they get stressed about relationships because the guy's not texting, they send me screenshots. Oh, he said this, he said this. I said, what should I say? I'm like, you're getting too stressed for nothing.
Right.
It's the stress itself which is causing you to react in a way that's disempowering and causing more negative vibrations to be attracted to you. So when you type a message, you're actually typing with the feeling that he's not going to like it. And so that's what happens. You get a message back that's unfavorable to you. You know? So what I did is I said, what's a simple method I could help women with, help my clients with? I did all the nostril breathing. I did the Wim Hof. They said, yeah, that's great, Raj. Feels great. But then when the problem would come up, they would forget to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And I said, did you do the breathing to help you self-regulate? And they go, oh, I forgot. It's not part of my lifestyle. Can you teach me again? It's not working, is it? All this breathe in for 6, hold for 8, breathe out for 10, and then hold for 16. It's not working. They were not doing it.
Right.
So what I did, I said, okay, all these methods, what's one simple, easy, and elegant way? I was thinking about that even before the pandemic.
Yeah.
I was researching it, looking into it, because I also studied metaphysics and yoga, intensively. Been doing that for 25 to 30 years now. And then I realized that if you do something like what's called the 3-3 that we're going to talk about, maybe we'll demonstrate it even.
Yes, we are going to demonstrate, just so you know.
Yeah, excellent.
I want to take our listeners through. I want them to get to benefit. So yes.
Absolutely. Okay. So what I found is that this simple, soft method, it's very much like opening up the parasympathetic side.
Correct.
And it can do that very quickly. Within 60 seconds, you can get into flow state.
Yes.
And you've probably seen a lot of the research by the Hungarian physicist, Mihail, I think his name was. It's quite a long name. And the books that he's written, lots of them on Amazon, they're great. However, people are lacking a specific technique to get them into flow state quickly. So this method, it releases endorphins from the brain, which, as you know, are pain relieving hormones. Also releases dopamine and serotonin, which are feel good, happy hormones from the brain. And also activates the vagus nerve as well, which is behind the throat, behind the face, and in the gut as well. So because it does all of these in one smooth motion, very gentle, very easy, very elegant, it works, immediately with everyone who tries it.
Yeah.
So that's where the 3-3, that's the kind of genesis of the 3-3.
Are you ready to redefine aging and unlock your full potential as a longevity leader? At the Human Longevity Institute, our world-class certification programs train doctors, coaches, and wellness professionals how to deliver cutting-edge integrative longevity health solutions so people can live better today for longer, healthier, and more vibrant tomorrows. If you're ready to join the longevity revolution, visit humanlongevityinstitute.com to enroll and become a practitioner today. Okay, so can you go ahead and break down what 3-3 is and take us into it? I want to come back and talk about your time in yoga. You had a really interesting experience that I want to make sure we have time to talk about. But so you've got us right here. So now we're all queued up. The idea of this elegant, simple, beautiful process. Will you explain it, like how it's done, and maybe guide us through a quick little 60-second process?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great.
First of all, are you familiar with breathing methods? Do you do any daily?
I'm very familiar with breath work. So, in my TED talk a few years ago about saying yes to stress, actually, is understanding that we need stress in our system. Yeah, it's regulated by the autonomic nervous system. So think of the demands as the foot on the gas of life. And when we have too many demands and not enough resources to keep up with the demands, we go into that distress, kind of the stuff that's going to break us down, overwhelm us, put us in a pro-inflammatory state. But there's a good type of stress that helps the system to actually get stronger. So in biohacking, we think of hormesis, little bouts of, an increased load, little inoculations. But eustress is the anticipatory. It's the good stuff. We're looking forward. Our systems are amped up, but it will put us in flow. It'll put us in high states of productivity. And it's
Mm.
actually, it actually lowers cortisol. It increases testosterone. It
Mm.
increases, helps to regulate really our overall metabolic chemistry. And one of the fastest ways to help to modulate stress across the body is through autonomic nervous system, because that is the gateway that helps to either pump the brakes and put us into
Mm.
parasympathetic, or push the gas and put us into sympathetic fight or flight.
Yeah.
And one of the quickest ways to activate that autonomic nervous system is by way of that vagus nerve, which is actually through breathing. And there are multiple types of breathing exercises. So, yes, I'm a big
Mm.
advocate. I teach some myself, but this isn't about me today. I want to know about your breathing method because I don't know about it yet. And I'm super excited. And after we do it, Raj, I want to understand how this kind of stacks up to some of the most commonly known, like box breathing and cyclic breathing and some things like that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. More than happy to walk you through it. Yeah, it's very exciting time that we're in. So, yeah. So what we'll do first is, if I can ask you, which are the ones you do on a regular basis? Is it alternate nostril breathing? Is it breathing through the mouth, like self hyperventilating? What Wim Hof, or what kind of methods do you do?
I actually do. So I'll do different types. It depends on the day and it depends on what's going on. So when I'm in it, so one of the things I do that's a 60-second or less is the cyclic breathing. So it's going
Mm.
to be two quick in, one long out through the mouth. So that one's got phenomenal research around it. And so I'll meet the system in the stress and then I help to de-escalate. So too fast, one long slow. I'll do box breathing at night if I want to just soften the system. I don't really I'll do Wim Hof when I do cold immersion. I don't like to just throughout my day do a ton of mouth breathing,
Uh-huh.
because then, we're releasing too much CO2 too fast. And I talk a lot all day as it is. So mouth breathing is not my preferred, like as my go-to, right? But again, it kind of depends. What is it that my system needs? So I've got
Mm.
several, and I do love a good alternating nostril breath, especially if I'm feeling out of balance, right? So if I'm kind of feeling like, to help to center up my system really quickly and help to ground me and create just a sense of almost kind of like that drops me into a nice kind of meditative flow really quickly, as far as that goes, if I'm sticking with that for a minute to three. So just a few.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, we'll go through this for a minute. I'll walk you through everything. Okay. So this one is, as mentioned, it's very soft, it's very gentle. I try to design it in such a way that it's as accessible to as many people as possible, so
Perfect.
that you don't have to worry about being, oh, do I breathe in my belly? Do I breathe my diaphragm? Do I worry about I'm a high stress breather? I breathe in my shoulders, and
Right, right.
don't need to worry about any of that. Right? So we've tested it on young children as young as 5, up
Right.
to adults up to 85, and
Mm.
it works across the age range. So, all right, yeah. So what we do first, we check the nostril flow to see which side is open or closed. It doesn't matter, but just to get an idea. So we block the right nostril and breathe out once through the left. Yeah, and then block the left nostril and breathe out once through the right. And get a sense of, is it like 50-50, or is one, would you say?
Our 50-50.
Yeah, okay, good. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you say you're feeling right now? Overall, like,
Mm.
1 is not great, 10 is amazing. What would you?
I mean, I feel really good today, but because I know I like to do this too. We want to have a scale to see pre and post. So I have a measure. I'll say 8.5.
8.5. Okay, excellent. Great. So this method is done by breathing 3 times through the nostrils in 3
Mhm.
parts, and then 3 parts out of the mouth with an
Great.
elongation on the third exhale.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's like this. I probably the software is going to cancel out the sniffing or the breathing sound. So I'll just make it audible as well, just to
Okay, perfect.
So it's sniff, sniff, sniff through the nose. So and then through the mouth, through the back of the throat. So sniff, sniff, sniff. And then with an elongation on the third out breath. Try that for a couple of times for me.
There we go. You can guide me through the sniff, sniff, sniff.
Okay. Sniff, sniff, sniff. And 1, 2, 3, and then open the mouth a little bit more.
Okay.
So it's like you're saying ha ha ha, like you're laughing. Ha,
Yeah.
ha. Back of the throat. Right. More a bit open like this.
Okay. Okay. Good. So those of you that are listening, you're going to want to see the video so you can see the demo. Okay, here we go. I'm going in through the nose again. Sniff, sniff, sniff.
Yep. Yeah. So it's very gentle. It's very soft. Yeah, I sometimes see that.
And it's good. It's opening up that jaw, stretch it out. Facial yoga too. It's perfect.
That's right. Yes. So it comes from the back of the throat, and that helps to activate the parasympathetic.
Nice. Yeah. So you're also getting that vibration. Exactly. So you're getting it in a couple of ways. It's nice. Good.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Also, women who are giving birth also do something with the H sound, and I'll tell you a bit about that.
Ooh, tell us about the H sound.
Yeah, so it's a very deep yogic idea in the yogic Vedanta philosophy. Ha, H is a very powerful exhalation which synchronizes with the hormones. This is where you go very deep into the philosophy. That's why when women are giving birth in the UK, they tell women to say he ho, he ho, he ho, he ho.
So I like that.
Good. Yeah. And that's when you're giving birth. But after the woman's given birth, they tell, oh, you don't need to worry about breath anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Hello.
You know,
this life. We need that good oxygen. Yeah.
So what we do, instead of the he ho ho ho, we do the ha ha ha.
I love it. Yeah, that's really nice. That's great. And hey, because laughing is another way to stimulate your vagus nerve, friends. Exactly. All the things to help. Exactly. That's another great thing. Exactly. I love it.
And also, the fifth chakra also has the sound hum. H-A-M. Hum. H-A-M. It's a ha again. Ha. So it correlates.
So Raj, take us for a moment. I know I'm kind of going off course, but you're bringing up a really great point about the sounds, right? Sound chakras. So take us into for a moment. You are a great studier, like you said, of yogic traditions. You've spent time in India. You had a pretty transformational experience yourself there. I want you to walk us through that, and I want to come back to understanding this vessel and maybe our chakras and the impact that sound as a whole, obviously paired with breath, like in your breathing technique, but what impact can sound have in helping us to open up our own channels of chi, of life force, if you will, because obviously we're talking about radical longevity, super longevity, living better today for longer tomorrows. And so breath, as we're hearing, the 3-3 method, the sniff, 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 ha, ha, is step one. That's something you can do a few cycles through anytime, any place you're in a distressful situation. You want to soothe your system. You want to get into flow. You want to clear your brain. It's free. It costs nothing. It works. Use that tool. But there's a lot of science, and there's also a lot of great, I don't want to say mystery because it's not, but there's a lot of ancient wisdom embedded in what you're teaching us as well. And so I want to take a moment and hop from the science into the ancient wisdom, and maybe you can take us to the roots of kind of your own experience and having a greater appreciation for this when you went to India.
That's so wow! You encapsulated that so well. I'm fascinated that you dialed in the esoteric with the exoteric, meaning the outer with the inner.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you, again, I don't know if people appreciate what you're doing, but you're on a totally different level than what most people would even imagine. So I want to thank you for sharing that. But
Thank
listen,
you.
we'll definitely cover all of that. What I'd like to do with you, if I
Sure.
may, is go through this with you for 60 seconds.
Okay, let's do
So,
it. Yeah. Let's do it.
okay. So we sniff, 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 as you know, and then ha, ha, ha. All right. So we'll do it for a minute together. For this one, Melissa, keep your eyes closed and just relax and just feel how the energy is moving inside.
Okay.
All right. So I'll put this timer on for a minute. So 3, 2, 1, and go. A bit faster, a little bit. Get a rhythm.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll follow your lead then. I'm going to listen to you. Eyes are
Good.
closed. Here we go.
Now, you don't have to say the ha. Is
Uh-uh.
it's quiet. So it's like a
Oh,
whisper.
okay.
It's
Okay.
no worries, no worries. So it's like
My eyes are closed, y'all. I don't know. I'm
yeah,
being
no,
guided here. Okay.
no
Okay.
worries. Okay, so I want you to because once you understand this and you do it once, you'll see
Okay.
how powerful it is. So okay, I'm going to
Okay.
walk you through it.
I'm going to do it
So
quietly now. Okay.
yeah,
Here we go.
but I'm just going to make it for your listeners and viewers audible. So sniff, sniff, sniff. That's and then it's but without the vocal cords. So it's soft. It's like a whisper.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Okay, sniff, sniff, sniff. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. So sniff, sniff, sniff. Ha ha. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Ha ha ha. But without the vocal sound. All right, we'll do this for a minute together. So three, ready? Yeah. Okay, awesome. 3, 2, 1, and go. Just relax, Melissa. Keep your eyes closed. Just relax. Gently feel what's happening within. Just relax. Whilst keeping your eyes closed, Melissa, tell me what you notice and how you feel.
So it definitely creates an increased sensation of lightheadedness because there's a lot of oxygen coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And so lightheaded, I'm seated, not dizzy, but just like, oh, okay. So for me, I then focus on wanting to ground it into my body because I want to just like allow that to move through me. So for me, I'm really feeling it in my head a lot. And definitely, it quiets the mind completely, right? So it helps to eliminate any other thinking, any other busy brain or thoughts. So there's just a nice, peaceful silence.
Mm-hmm.
and just a nice, gentle flow. Yeah.
Okay, good. Let me ask you, do you feel any cool sensations around your sinuses, around your forehead, or top of your head, around your body, anywhere?
Mm. I mean, I um not in my sinuses. I think as I was doing it, like immediately right after, again, I felt a lot of pressure and lightheadedness. And
Hmm.
so maybe like a little bit right at my temples, maybe a bit up towards my crown. So just more, yeah, kind of up in here is
Yeah.
where I was feeling more of the movement, if you will.
Okay, excellent. Okay, great. And do you notice, Melissa, your heart rate slow down a little bit?
Probably.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
mental chatter, the monkey mind that most of us have in this super busy world, is that's decreased a bit?
Again, like when I'm in a state like this with you, I'm just totally present. I don't have other things racing through. However, just being going through your exercise view, yes, as you go do this,
Mm.
it's already just creates a quietness for sure.
Mm. And, uh,
Yeah.
and you notice a kind of growing expanse of awareness beyond the body? Like, do you notice a kind of a spaciousness of mind that perhaps goes beyond the flesh and bone kind of
Mhm.
body? Do you notice anything?
Yeah, and I feel like if I were not in an interview with you and then thinking of our timestamps and the stuff and just in a room with you doing this exercise or by myself,
Mm.
down grounded, that I would be able to just completely be present with it, right?
Yeah.
So to really
Yeah.
feel that
Yeah.
anytime I do any kind of intentional meditation, self-care, I mean, absolutely, it 100% it's feeling the expansiveness. But I think
Yes.
right now it's kind of like, yeah, yeah.
It's excellent, excellent. And on a
Mhm.
scale of 1 to 10, you said you felt an 8, and I think it was.
8.5. Mhm.
Yeah. What do you feel now? Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, probably like, I mean, I feel great. Like I said, I felt great to begin with. So I am for sure. I mean, I think I feel a little bit more even lifted in my mind, a little
Mm.
even more bright. So
Mhm.
I'd for sure say, like, we'll give it a 9.5,
Okay.
100%. Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Um, okay. And one last question on that, if it's
Yeah,
okay.
please.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised are you at how quickly this worked?
I think that would be a great question for our audience because I know how quickly breath works. So I'm not
Mm.
surprised at all. I
Okay.
mean, to me, again, I've been doing this for a long time. So I think the person who's doing this for the very first time or is new to it, it is such a powerful experience, right? To all of a sudden drop into our body and realize that just by changing the rhythm of our breathing, we can radically change our mood, our how we are perceiving our body, how we are noticing our energy. So yes, I think that's really powerful for our listeners for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
All right. Listen, I only get a few more minutes with you. So, and this was great. I'm glad that our listeners, I would love to, I want to ask you, have you looked at any of the data sets, the research around what this breathing technique does and how it specifically? So, when we are breathing in this way, not only lowering stress, but have you correlated that? Because part of your mission, right, is to help over 1 billion people live to 100. So, have you correlated the data with longevity and how it can impact health span, lifespan?
Absolutely. That's what we're working on. That's where it gets really exciting because
Hmm.
if you think about it, in the school system, you're not really taught meditative practices. You're not taught about the power of your brain. And there's some things in your brain which are so powerful, and you only need to secrete a little bit of hormone from your brain into your bloodstream to have a huge impact. So there are more esoteric practices that I do, which even go beyond, but they take a lot more training and lot more focus. But
Yeah.
this one is simple, it's accessible, it's almost immediate, pretty much immediate.
Yeah.
We've had Novartis, the medical company, doing it. We have Oracle, the software company, doing it. NHS, National Health Service in the UK doing it.
Mhm.
They're all amazed at how simple and how quick it is. So
So are you doing, so as of right now, for your students that are doing it, are you doing any measurements of like tracking, for example, how it correlates over time? So not just the one-off, because I know there's an immediate before and after, but what's the longer people are doing it? Have you been looking at just some even fundamental biomarkers, maybe like how it's affecting their HRV, how it is affecting their resting heart rate, how it is affecting their blood pressure? So maybe some simple things like that versus maybe the bigger things like actually looking at biological age testing, which is a whole different category, but we can tell a lot just about how our system is recovering and how it's responding to stressors when we start to see trends over time to some of those basic biomarkers. Have you correlated any of that type of data yet?
yes, I mean we're looking into this. This is the kind of next step. So a lot of people have, yes, they benefited from it. They know it, it works. It helps them
Mhm.
in their lifestyles. Now, it's the next question is like, can we collaborate with people like yourselves who are now able to demonstrate the science or speak to the science of it. In terms of heart rate variability, a lot of people wear fitness trackers when they do
Mhm.
this,
Mhm.
and they notice that they're able to bring the heart rate and things like that, within 60 seconds, bring it down 10 to
Sure.
15%. And they find it quite surprising how something this simple can also have a longer impact in terms of a person's day. So if you do it for 2 or 3 minutes, you can't really compound, bless you, you really compound the effect. And we do it for 3, 5 or 7 minutes. And then it
Mhm.
really gets you into flow state. You stay in the zone.
Yeah.
It's like bullet time.
Yeah, I think
Amazing.
it'll be interesting to see some of your data when you've got these groups of people doing it over a period of time. Because again, it's like the one off, meaning the doing it one time, absolutely has an impact, right? And that you can quickly measure and see. And so I think that's a great place for anybody to start. If you're not sure, if you're doubting this, it's not going to hurt you. Start seated. Don't do it while you're driving. Don't do it, while you're anywhere else. Just be in a grounded position so you're stable. Because if you were to get a little lightheaded, we don't want you falling. We don't want anything happening to you. We want you to be nice and safe and supported. And, check your heart rate beforehand. Just simply put it fingers to the neck or fingers on the pulse and see where you're at before. Do what Raj walked us through. Give yourself a 1 to 10 score. How you feeling? 10's the best, 1's the worst. Where are you at? Start, do a minute of it, set a little timer, stop, self-assess where you at on 1 to 10. Just kind of be in the system, slowly open the eyes, make sure you're grounded, make sure you're present, make sure you're there, recheck your resting heart rate, right? See what it does for you. So be curious, be the own N of one first and foremost if you haven't done any tools like this. But I think for you, Raj, I'll be excited to hear back from you ongoing as you guys collect more and more data, because like I said, I think the interesting thing is to look at cohorts over time. So your students who have been doing this for months, for a week, a month,
Mm.
a year, like what differences, where do we see that they are fundamentally, did they start that their lab markers looked a certain way, they had a resting heart rate of 76 forever, and then they were healthy and they went to the gym and they did your other programs, but they started this breathing technique and they've been doing it pretty religiously now for 3 months, and their resting heart rate is now 64 every morning, right? Kind of thing. I'm just giving an example. I think that because that correlates in the data with the pace of aging. So I'd be really interested for you to keep in touch with us on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
very exciting. So,
Yeah.
yeah, more than
So,
happy
okay,
to.
listen, we're going to save the best for, I mean, I don't want to say that wasn't the best because that was a wonderful experience. And I'm so glad we got to go through it. Take us to your time in India. Let's talk about what's
Okay.
behind me because we literally have just a couple of minutes left.
Okay.
And I think
No.
there's what you're about to share with us, I think is for all of our radical longevity lovers out there and for anybody that's really trying to understand what is possible in this human experience and how to truly tap in to greater states of self. And where does self emerge from? Whatever your religious, philosophical backgrounds are, that how can we know of our own longevity potential, immortality, all of these concepts. And I think this story you have is going to give us a glimpse into that. So tell us about what happened when you went to India.
Absolutely. So when I went to India, I was an obnoxious 18-year-old thinking I know something. Cause, I didn't know I was obnoxious. I just realized that afterwards. So I went to India. You're thinking I know something, as kids do. I've completely forgiven myself for being so ignorant. But anyway, I went to India. I met an avatar, right, who had a huge influence on me. His name's Satya Sai Baba, and his power, his energy was so overwhelming. I felt this love, which was so unbelievable that it just magnetically influenced me in such a way that I could feel and sense that, hang on, what you've learned is nothing. There is so much more to you than you could ever imagine, but you need to commit to your heart space. You need to get into your heart, your mission, your purpose. You need to live that life. You will not find it unless you're committed to it. So his energy was so huge. It's just overwhelming, and I'd never felt that from any human being before. And you could say, well, he's not just a human being. He's a yogi of the highest order with all his chakras fully blazing, right? And when you're in the presence of someone like that, you pick up what they call prana, life energy. Magnetic power it's immeasurable.
Yeah.
And it touches everyone who comes within the sphere of their radiance. And that was it just changed my entire mindset in such a way that swept away all the debris, all the doubt, all the worry. And then I realized, you know what? This is real life. This is what you're living here. You think you know something. You don't know. You don't know where you come from. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what life is. You don't know how the planet works. You don't know how your body works. Being in that magnetic influence teaches you that everything is in the heart. Everything is in the heart. And you access that through a disciplined mind. That's the way you do it. You have to control the senses. You have to control the body. You must not allow the world to make you feel or think negatively.
And that's a whole other conversation, because that's really one of our greatest challenges, right? And it's not about, and I think that gets us into, we've come into such a time, because I understand exactly what you're saying. And I've had moments now, I've not been in front of a yogi. I've not had that same type of experience, but I can say that even through some of my own yogic practices, as an example, in some of my own journeys and sessions, I would say I've really touched states of incredible, deep, profound love, like source love. And I know it to be so real and true through me. And it's like truly this infinite source of just the fullness that we all originate from, and that we will, that we will always be, and we will stream in these avatars as long as possible. And so, yet in this modern world, we've come into a time, and that's kind of at the crux of what we always talk about, right? Radical longevity, living longer, but are we living well today? And many of us get just unconsciously caught in the swirls and the throes of everyday life, and the stressors and the demands and the things. And we go into worry, and we go into wonder, and then I think what we've been almost marketed to and taught to do is think happy thoughts. This idea that then the term toxic positivity has almost come out, because we think, well, I can just have a disciplined mind and I can think happy, and that's where love is, that's where happiness is, and what makes it, and how to do it. And then we get so stuck up here. So I'm wondering, how can you help our listeners maybe discern the reality between a disciplined mind, but how does that actually bring them into their heart? Because love and the thought, it's not about being positive and happy and loving mentally as a construct. It's how do we truly access it and get out of our mind and drop into our heart so that we can more fully experience that?
That's such a great question. Again, you've encapsulated a lot there in a very, in a short, compressed sentence or two or paragraph.
Paragraph is me.
Review. I think the thing is that repetition is absolutely critical. And if you look carefully at the school system, I believe it's built on the Rockefeller model, which is all about consumerism. So what we need to do is we need to get back to repeating positive phraseology, positive phrases. They call them mantras. Mantras is a popular word all over the world. So you have to have some power words that work for you, that you have to repeat them whenever you're in a funk, whenever you get stuck. You repeat them, 6 times, 12 times, and it gets you back into your emotional HQ. Gets you back to your home place. And it's not this world. It's not. You have a heart space within yourself. That's your true home. That's where you have to have your private space and build upon that. So even if you're on a train, you're in a party, wherever, you repeat that mantra, it gets you back into your space, and it's a positive place. It's a
Yeah.
happy place. It's a place that gives you strength, even in the difficult situation. You repeat that 12 times, 24 times, however many times, that begins to open up your heart space, and that protects you from a lot of negative influences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Repetition is key. Like Bruce Lee said, I don't fear the man who does 10,000 kicks. I fear the man who does the same kick 10,000 times,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what you
And,
become dangerous.
one of the
Yeah.
things, Raj, I've done is because for me, the word discipline doesn't actually, it doesn't work for me. However, when I rephrase it and reframe it to devotion, can I be devoted? Can I
Yes.
be devoted to a practice? Can I be devoted to and so again, and I think for some people, and especially you coming from your martial arts and combat background, and I understand there's so much beauty and wisdom in all of the different philosophies that you have studied that have shaped and influenced your life. And so I respect it completely. And if there's anybody out there that's like me, that you're kind of like, well, discipline feels like work and I don't want to do it. And then it's a stressor. It's like, well, what if it were devotion and an
Yeah.
act of devotion? And so, I want to potentially offer up as we get ready to wrap. I
Mm,
like this idea of you saying repetition because maybe it can just be that easy. The repetition of breath, the repetition of a practice. And could you even, as you're breathing, possibly
mm,
pair with your 3-3 methodology,
mm.
the finding with the intention. So if we think of heart math, and how to really create coherence. There's heart brain coherence, right? So, how do we devotionally take the time to connect with our breath and move it into our heart? And in that act, find ourself. And so, maybe it is finding a word or a phrase, like you said, your power phrases of could we even be willing to start with I am love,
Yes.
something like that is that powerful, because when I think about what you've shared with the yogi, what was so impactful to you is yes, he was wide open, like his every energy center, he was fully alive, but the presence of that field that you were kind of brought into was that field and that frequency of love, of just this pure, like just
Yeah.
and presence
Yeah.
of that. And so I think, like you said, it exists with all of us within our heart space. And so maybe the breath and the awareness, the devotion, the mental devotion of taking the time to bring the breath to the heart. And as you're doing the sniff, 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 ha,
Yeah.
ha, ha,
Yeah.
I am love, ha, ha, ha. I
Absolutely.
am love, ha, ha, ha. Something
Absolutely.
like that could
Yeah.
be a really beautiful way to help people implement the beautiful science and soul that you have shared with us today. So I really want to thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're very welcome. It's absolutely fine. In terms of opening up that neuroplastic window so you can code it with mantras, huge. Absolutely.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Man, I wish we had more time. We have already gone over, but it's been worth every moment. I've enjoyed our talk immensely. Raj, where can our listeners find out more about you? Of course, we will have links in the show notes to all the things available through Raj, but where's the best place they can find you?
Best place, I think, where the biggest demand is for stress reduction and anxiety and insomnia as well, because this method works within 30 to 90 seconds. People fall asleep when they've told us that they've had insomnia for 5 or 10 years or whatever, taking sleeping meds. So, best place is to go to keepfitkingdom.com. And there's a tab on there called 3 products, which you can click and find out more information, testimonials from the NHS, Novartis, Oracle, and so on. And you can watch videos, you can ask questions, you can email us, WhatsApp us, and all that stuff through the website. That's
Incredible.
probably the best place to find us. Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. So definitely go check out Keep Fit Kingdom, and those links will be below. Gosh, what a beautiful conversation today. It was a fun conversation. It was a soulful conversation. And you gave us an experience today. So truly, I'm in deep, deep appreciation and gratitude to and for you, Raj. Thank you for the work you're doing, and thank you for the time with us today, for sure.
Thank you, Melissa. Absolutely great to be with you and look forward to doing it again soon. Thanks.
Yes, my pleasure. All right. All right there, RAADcast fam. Listen, If you want to have more amazing experiences like this, do not forget that we will be at RAADfest this summer. There's incredible things going on. You want to keep your finger on the pulse of everything radical, super longevity. You want to make sure that you are checking things out over at the Coalition for Radical Life Extension. You want to join us this summer. We are going to have our 10-year anniversary. It is going to be an incredible experience, amazing humans just like Raj, so many opportunities to connect and to be inspired and empowered with actionable insights to truly live better today for longer, more vibrant tomorrows. I can't wait to personally see you all there. And until the next time we are together, listen, if you liked the episode, like us, subscribe, give us a review, share it out. Just keep sharing this. This is a beautiful conversation. And we all need to know that more is possible. Aging is optional. It truly is. And we get to be the masters of our own destiny, the curator of our tomorrows. So until next time, continue to be bold, stay curious, and express your greatest states of aliveness. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us on RAADcast, where science and soul ignite the future of radical life extension. Be sure to visit us over at radfest.com. There you can engage with like minds in the super longevity movement and find out about upcoming conferences and events. If you're inspired by today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to live bigger, bolder, and longer. Stay curious, and we'll see you next time on RAADcast.